Hello and welcome to a Lividian Publications unboxing, a very exciting box containing ARC's advanced reader copies of books that have already been published. So they're not really advanced reader copies, I suppose, at this point. But yeah, Brian James Freeman posted on his Patreon that he had a bunch of ARCs that he would like to find a home for. And you know what? I do not mind giving Brian James Freeman some money. So, we got two different kinds of foam. You get the, I guess you would call it the classic foam from Lividian that his titles used to come in. And then you have the new softer foam that the Gone South arc came in. Let's see what we've got. Now, very nice. Very, very nice. We're going to dive in and we're going to see. We've got four of them. 4 books to look at. Most of which you may have seen in hardcover format or the limited edition format. But you know what? I think it's pretty cool. First up is Walking with Ghosts by Brian James Freeman. So this, okay. He had mentioned that one of the titles said a different publisher. And I saw somebody had gotten a copy of the Walking with Ghost arc that PS Publishing had done. This one, however, has the Cemetery Dance logo on it. So this was originally going to be published as a Cemetery Dance title, and then it got kind of sidetracked over to Lividian Publications. So this cover is the trade cover. I have a copy of this, which is the illustrated edition. Oh, and it is signed by Brian James Freeman. There's the signature right there, the man himself. So, Walking with Ghosts was originally published over in PS Publishing, over in the UK. The US edition was going to be a non-illustrated edition such as this, but also an illustrated edition that featured a ton of illustrations from Glenn Chadbourne. And now I actually have the Walking with Ghosts arc of the illustrated edition that Cemetery Dance did. But that one never came to fruition. Instead, there's also an arc for Walking with Ghosts, the illustrated edition, with Lividian's logo on it. Or the LP. It might even have been letterpress publications at the time. So the trade edition was published by Lividian Publications. This one right here. And then there was also the, this is like the Patreon edition, I believe. And then there was the illustrated edition that was also published, which has the Glenn Chadbourne cover. Very excited to add this to my collection. I have the Glenn Chadbourne cover. I don't have this one. Next up is The King of Shadows by Robert McCammon. Robert McCammon is a favorite over at Lividian Publications. This was the newest of the Matthew Corbett titles. I have already read this title, and it is a great, great title. Very tiny font in this arc. Must be the trade arc. So the limited edition had a lot more pages. It was a very thick novel, but it had larger font. For the trade edition, he had to reduce the size of the font in order to reduce the paper costs, because paper costs are crazy right now. If you are not familiar with Robert McCammon or the Matthew Corbett series in particular, they are historical fiction and with just a hint of the supernatural, and you should definitely check them out. They just announced, they being Brian James Freeman, just announced that more Robert McCammon titles are going to get Lividian treatment, particularly in the trade edition format. The Border is getting a trade paperback. King of Shadows is getting a trade paperback. And I believe The Listener. There might have been a 4th title, but those are the 3 that are popping in my head. King of Shadows paperback, The Listener, which was a Cemetery Dance publication, and The Border, which was a Subterranean Press publication, are both getting paperbacks through Lividian. I don't know if they're on sale yet. I can't recall that detail. I believe they're on sale for his Patreon members. They get first crack at it. Up next, a very exciting one. This is Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill, his debut novel, with the LP logo on the side there. Oh, yes. I remember this. They had the arc was kind of done in the format of a ad, because he buys the main character buys himself a haunted suit. So there is your little Craigslist ad where you can buy it. That is really cool. So this did get a limited edition through Lividian. So this does feature the illustrations throughout, which is incredible. And Brian James Freeman has announced that they are going to do all of the Joe Hill titles. They started with 20th Century Ghosts. There is an arc out there somewhere for 20th Century Ghosts. I would love to get my hands on a copy, but I'm not going to be holding my breath for it because, you know, I can't be spending money on arcs when I already have the limited edition. But one day. And yeah, so that 20th Century Ghosts was his first collection, but also the first title published by Lividian, followed by Heart-Shaped Box. Horns might, if it keeps following the publication date, Horns will be the next one to get Lividian treatment. We'll see when that comes around. Brian James Freeman said he was trying to do one of those titles a year, so fingers crossed, it might be this year. And finally, we have The Night Country by Stewart Onan. This was a Halloween. Small New England town has a tragedy. Yep, tragic car accident, and it deals with the aftermath of that, years to come. I have not read this one yet. This was one of the earliest Lividian publications. This might have been, was this the first Lividian publication title after, I guess technically ever, because Revival was technically letterpress publications. So I think The Night Country may have been the first one. It's for Bray Bradbury, so it has, you know, hints of small town Bradbury-esque story throughout. And I have the limited edition, but I haven't read it yet, so I'm going to have to give it a read. And what better reading copy than an advanced reading copy, even though it's, you know, several years later. Not quite advanced, but a reading copy nonetheless. So like I said, it's not really your traditional unboxing video because these are all paperback arcs, and they're arcs that are all after the fact. But, you know, I think it'd be pretty cool to add them to my collection. So I did. Big thanks to Brian James Freeman over at Lividian Publications. Check out both Lividian Publications because of the amazing work he does, but also check out his Patreon because the Patreon gets the advance notices of these titles, whether it be a grab bag, which I've unboxed a grab bag on the channel, and it was the single best grab bag I've ever received. Arc bags like this, or just advanced notices of the actual sales. If you want to get advanced notice of Horns or advanced notice of the upcoming McCammon titles, including Gone South, which I just did an unboxing of the arc for that. So please check out the unboxing for Gone South. Very excited to see what Brian James Freeman does with that. Check out Lividian Publications and check out his Patreon. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you around next time.